From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought nothing but misery for us all. Everything we used to take for granted, like going to concerts or going to support your favourite football team, has all been put on hold. We're now currently in the third lockdown here in the UK, and this has been going on ever since the first lockdown was announced back on the 23rd of March 2020. With it coming up to almost a year since the first time Boris told us we all had to stay at home, I've decided to document some of the local teenagers' perspectives and how it's affected each of their lives. It's currently the 26th of January 2021, and I've planned to meet up with and interview Adam, a fellow Leeds City College classmate of mine. This will be my first time meeting up with someone who isn't part of my household since December, so it's safe to say I was excited to get out of my boring old house at this point. I decided to ask Adam how he was finding the constant uncertainty surrounding the lockdowns and the tier systems.
I'm not really a big fan of the whole changing tiers and changing rules thing. It seems like every other month we're getting different rules, and I'm not even sure what I'm going to be doing next month.
I also decided to ask two other creative arts students what they thought about it all.
I'm finding it quite hard, to be honest, not knowing what's going to come next. Especially like after quite a few months on it, you have like lockdown. It's just like the last thing you want is to not know how many more months you've got on lockdown. So yeah, I'm finding it quite hard, not knowing what's coming next.
It's I just can't really get my head around it. I find it very confusing half the time, and then very angering the other half the time. It seems to me as though we've gone back into a lockdown twice. The tier system hasn't worked twice, so I don't know why they'd try it again, really. So that's why it tends to anger me nowadays.
I also asked them to predict how many more lockdowns they thought it would take till we got back to normal. If we ever do, that is.
Well, I'm not a guessing man, so I won't want to guess how many more. I mean, it all depends on the vaccine, doesn't it? And down to the science as well. So I don't really want to guess.
Honestly, a couple more months at most. I don't think any of this is going away anytime soon. Could be a couple of years before you stop hearing the word coronavirus.
I'm sure this has got to be the last. I'm an optimist, so I'm going to say this is going to be the last because we've got the vaccine now. They say by May, apparently there's going to be most restrictions are going to be gone by May, I heard. So I think this should be the last lockdown.
Well, we can only hope for that much. I also decided to ask them what kind of skills or hobbies they picked up during lockdown.
I've definitely got a lot better at all things music, practicing different instruments than I would have before, and getting better at the ones I was already okay at. And, I've just had a lot more free time to think about stuff and pick up new hobbies. I've been doing quite a lot, actually.
I learned how to produce music using Ableton.
I wouldn't say I've picked up new skills, but I've definitely been trying to develop skills that I started learning before lockdown. So for me, a massive one has been playing guitar and playing the bass. That was like one of the main things. That I've also been doing a lot of schoolwork and gaming, but it's very hard, I find, to do like a lot of creative things during lockdown because it's like, for me, I just work better around people. So yeah, it's a whole challenge just getting up and doing like the normal work usually.
So would you say lockdowns had a negative effect on your creative influence?
Yeah, it's had a negative effect on pretty much everything. But yeah, definitely my creativity. I mean, it's just like you don't see as many things when you're in lockdown, and like for me, like just like visualizing and seeing things helps my creativity.
So as you just heard there 3 times in a row, music's been a huge part of everyone's lockdown, including mine. I also thought I'd ask them one more question about how Boris and the government are running things during lockdown and what they thought of it.
He's gone into it without knowing what COVID is, obviously. But I feel like after the first tier system failed and we went into a lockdown, he shouldn't have gone back with it. I feel like the eat out to help out thing was just stupid. Like, I understand that we had like 0 cases. There was still a thing. You shouldn't be packing like restaurants and stuff as soon as we come out of lockdown. I felt like that was just stupid. But I do understand that people have to make money and stuff. But it's a difficult situation for him. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they have made a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah, well, I'm very disappointed in the way that he's dealt with it. But I feel like, there's no word for it. You know, it's very disappointing. The lack of maturity, the lack of respect towards like the science in aspects. I mean, he's no Donald Trump. He's avoided the science in places, especially like with lockdowns, and I feel like that's been part of the reason why we're in even bigger lockdowns and we've had even more deaths than what we may have been able to avoid. You know, especially when you look at places like New Zealand and a lot of the Asian, East Asia countries that have obviously done well with the virus. So it's a bit,
Honestly, a lot of people say he's done bad, but I don't know what I do in his position, so I guess I can't really judge it.
So in conclusion, there are no answers for what's to come in the future. We'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, we're all in.
Lockdown. Everything on lockdown. Lockdown is a matter.